Do you remember when Canada was going to be the opening round of the 2020 season? Well, it's not anymore. Formula 1 is just, to get your head around it is incredibly difficult, but we are going to move past that. We're not going to have our heads in the sand. We're going to bring you another funny video, well, we think anyways, by doing a Q&A. Now, we had a Q&A last year when we hit 1,000 subscribers. Again, thank you very much for that. Don't know why I said that. But that was very much Formula 1 questions, which of course we're here to do. We're the F1 debate show. We debate Formula 1. But we always wanted Q&A questions that kind of delved more into, what our backstories were. What do we do when the cameras aren't on? And just generally anything. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. Again, getting away from the COVID-19 stories and the no Formula 1, of course, now France. Paul Ricard is, at the moment, the opening round of the season. But that's the last thing we're going to mention about current Formula 1, Jordan. Let's jump into this Q&A. So, of course, firstly, we want to thank everyone for sending in their questions. We have 8, so we've narrowed them down. Of course, if you haven't been selected, you may still be charged. No, you won't really. But obviously, thank you very much for everyone who sent the questions in. We haven't slimmed them down, and every question that we read out today, we will give a shout out to, of course, who sent them in, who came up with the amazing questions. Some are amazing, some are just, average. We'll mention them in this video. So, Jordan, without further ado, let us. What's our first question for our Q&A today? Yes,
our first question comes in from user. I'm going to go with user. That's the name I'm going to go with. And again, apologies if we butcher your names. But hey, that's the fun of it. That is the fun of a Q&A. Yes. And he says, what is your favourite F1 car / livery of all time? Now, that's a very good question because there's plenty to choose from in terms of car and in terms of livery. I'm going to kind of kick things off with car. I mean, you could, there's many cars you could say, like loads of classic cars, like classic Ferraris, classic McLarens, classic, Williams cars. But of course, we started coming to Formula 1 after those stages. So for me personally, I would say in terms of an iconic car for me, for Formula 1 sense, would be the McLaren MP425, which is the 2010 car. So now 2010 was a breakthrough year for me, where I didn't start watching F1 at the start of the year, but by the time I'd been to Silverstone, I started really getting into it. And then 2011 was like my first full year. So that car for me, I remember looking at it going, I just love the look of that car, and playing it on the games, watching on races. I just really love that car. And of course the McLaren Vodafone Mercedes livery, it was just iconic, in obviously Lyle's as well. Mine, it's a very iconic livery when we were growing up watching Formula 1. So in terms of livery for that, but if I had to choose one, car-wise, it's the MP425, without a shadow of a doubt. But livery, I think for me, there's one runaway winner. And that is clearly the Brawn in 2009, which is a very typical answer, but you can't hide away from how good that car looked. In terms of livery, it is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And for me, it's up there on top of the list. And I hope maybe one day that a car comes back and brings back that livery. Actually, to be fair, no. I think we should lock that livery away forever and just keep it in the archives of Formula 1. But of course, a big shout out, big honourable mention would be to the Vodafone McLaren Mercedes livery from 2007 to 2013. Purely gorgeous. Lyle, what's yours? What's your favourite car / livery of all time?
Well, so let me start with car. Of course, I agree with you, Jordan, completely. I'm not going to go for a car that I haven't really seen. Again, watching what we grew up watching Formula 1 in, and I'm going to stick with something that I've always said, which of course is 2010 is one of the best years for Formula 1. Again, not for any reason that Sebastian Vettel won the World Championship or anything like that, because that was the first year that we went. Who's my favourite driver? Who's my first favourite driver? It's Mark Webber. What team did he drive for? Red Bull. What was the car? It was the RB6, and that's what I'm going to say in this question. Of course, I haven't seen this question, so it's just a quick fire. But yeah, I'm just gonna say that because it was a very iconic car. Mainly, Mark Webber drove it. I always remember when it was pulled over. Don't know what corner it was, doing his donuts, of course, when he just won the British Grand Prix. Seeing him in that, and of course, seeing Sebastian Vettel become the youngest world champion in that car, and just what he actually achieved, what he could achieve, was absolutely amazing. So I'm going to say RB6 for that. It might be a little bit of a different answer. And again, I don't like following the normal answers of the F2004, MP44. Of course, the MP44 is very good.
It is.
I like more of the late 90s cars, kind of the change from the old school, big bulky tyres, massive bust steering wheels, to then the higher noses, the flatter cars, the bigger exhausts, the smaller steering wheels. I would say, and this is kind of, I just thought of this the other day. When I saw this the other day in an old race, the 1995 McLaren. Don't know what number it was. Probably the MP49 or something just off the top of my head. Lovely livery, and I'll tell you why it was lovely. We all loved that red and white, the Marlboro kind of colour. That was absolutely incredible. And yes, of course, that's on the older cars. For example, the MP44. But when I was saying about the evolution and the cars started getting to look more of what they are now, for example, if you remember the 1994 Benetton, which was the car that almost revolutionised the look of the cars, that was so it was quite a modern day car in 95 with the white and red livery on it, and it was one of the last years to do it, because obviously in a few years with Mick Hackney, I think it was, that's when it changed to just the grey, the West, whatever that meant, and the boring era of McLaren. Of course, I do agree with Jordan, the 2008 was good. Again, the Red Bull 2013, off the top of my head, RB9, that was lovely, and I'll tell you why it was. You had the purple and the blue. The purple just, Jordan, that was, that hit the sun, that hit your eyes so well.
It was nice,
In the infinity as well around the barge board, that used to stick out. It was a lovely car. It was a lovely colour. They had it on 2014 and 2015's cars, of course, the V6s. Didn't really hit the spot, mainly just because of, the drivers. And then they got rid of it. Then, of course, like the 2016 Red Bull, didn't really like that because it lost the, that kind of colour, the purple and the sponsors. Infinity, for some reason, helped. So, yes, they're my answers. I'm going to kind of break it down, split it in the middle between the Red Bull 2013, the purple car, the RB9, and that McLaren 1995, I think it was 1996 as well, that, the old white and red, and of course on that kind of modern car, definitely one of the best liveries. It doesn't have to be Marlboro, because of course you can't have cigarette sponsorships on the cars anymore, but they need to bring that back in some way, shape or form. And of course I do like the McLarens now, the red and the orange and blue, but they do need to look at getting that back in the future. Anyway, Jordan, moving on to our second question, and this one, getting away from Formula 1, is a bit of a quirky one. It says, it's from Moto Meerkat, Sir Meerkat, who's going to be on our show very shortly. He says, what is your go-to meal deal? First, location, and secondly, the specific meal. Now, I'm going to start off by saying, in a meal deal, over here, it's £3, and it's a drink, a sandwich, and a treat, so a chocolate bar or a bag of crisps. And if you get the most blandest things ever, so for example, you might get something on there that's, £1.80 to buy, like a drink, like a bottle of, whatever, it'll be £1.80. Actually, no, I'm starting again. Sometimes you actually get more expensive things on a meal deal, but you can merge all them together. So, for example, you can walk out of there with, Red Bull and, the biggest sandwich ever filled with everything in the middle, and then like a dual boost bar coming to about £5, but it will be £3 on the meal deal. But yeah, and then obviously some people, bland, boring people, get like, I think I saw someone the other day bought an Evian water, a bag of ready salted Walkers, and a plain ham sandwich, which is like the most pathetic thing ever. Because if you buy a Red Bull and all those things, it will be £3. If you buy a bottle of water, it'll be £3. So what am I going to say? Well, firstly, I've got a bit of a meal deal story which I want to share with you. Last year, when I was doing when I was doing my lifeguard training for my job, the first time around, of course, we did our swim training in the morning. And we went to Tesco. Some of them didn't actually bring packed lunches. I did. I was very, schoolboy era. And they all got food there. So I remember one day I didn't bring me lunchbox, and I was like, I'll just buy stuff there. So I got a Red Bull. I got what did I get? I got a Red Bull. I got a sausage roll, and I got a an all-day breakfast sandwich, which has egg in it. If anyone has a problem with that, no problem. And then I went to the checkout desk, or the self-service one, and I scanned it. And they were like, it's like £5, and I was like, oh, you know, it should be the meal deal. I always feel weird if you get disallowed on a Red Bull, which you know is over £3 anyway, or something like that. You know that, you know, it's not ethical. It's like stealing 10 pence carrier bags. It's not ethical. So anyway, so I got scanned, and it was like, it's £5. So I went, you know, excuse me, you know, she had a look. Anyways, and she told me, this was Tesco by the way. She told me that a hot dog, a sausage roll, was classed not as a sandwich, but as a treat. Like, really? So, to break that down, basically, if I got a Red Bull, a sausage roll, and a sandwich, that would have been fine. But to get a Red Bull, a sausage roll, and like a Whisper or a Boost or a, you know, dairy milk wouldn't have been right. And I'm like, that's why we are the fattest nation in Europe. So, anyway, going back to the question. Go-to meal...
He's livid, people. He's livid.
Go-to meal deal. I'd probably say Tesco. I mean, you know, that's just... I'd say that was like the most kind of frequent, you know, supermarket we have over here. Asda, not really. Sainsbury's, nah, not really. I mean, sometimes, depends what's around. I got a Morrison's once, and like, you know, Marks Spencer's, no. I don't even know if they do one. I'm just naming shops. Waitrose, no.
Yeah, you get a sausage roll for £3. That's their meal deal.
My go-to one, yeah, I'm gonna go exactly what I said there. Sausage roll, Red Bull, and no, I can't have a sausage roll, can I?
You can't.
No, I can't.
Remember what the lady said? No.
I'm gonna go Red Bull. I'm gonna go if it's like, you know, I mean, any time of the day. So I'm gonna say a Red Bull, an all-day breakfast sandwich, which includes sausage and egg. Lovely. No egg sandwich complaints out there, guys. And let's go with, if I can get a Duo chocolate bar, then I will. Probably either a Duo Mars or a Duo Boost. But if I can't do a Duo bar, I'd probably go for a packet of either McCoy's salt and vinegar or Walker's of like the kind of the extravagant nature, so like prawn cocktail or, you know, the specials that sometimes they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, salt and vinegar McCoy's or prawn cocktail Walker's, Jordan, and that's from Tesco, and that's my final locked in.
And that's choice locked in.
I mean, that was a great question. Well, thank you, Sir Meerkat, when you're watching this. It feels like I'm talking to royalty out there. Thank you, sir.
He is royalty.
He is royalty. So, Jordan, meal deal, £3. Where are you going?
Meal deal.
And why? And where, sorry.
And where? Well, for me, it's Morrison's. Definitely Morrison's. Best for me in terms of food wise, in terms of like availability and, you know, selection of choice, Morrison's is the best. Don't even at me at that. It's end of conversation. Morrison's will not be beaten. Anyway, every time I go, I've always got my three. Well, I've always got the brunch triple, which is like an all day breakfast triple. If there's none of that, I'll go for something called a mixed triple, which you have ham and cheese with mayonnaise, which is nice, a chicken salad and a BLT all in one. Beautiful. You've always got to go for the triple. Don't go for the doubles, like the two sandwiches of chicken salad and tuna sweet corn. No. You want triple. You don't want double. You want triple. You want to try and get as much out of it as you possibly can, like what Lyle was explained before. I always go for a brownie. Gorgeous brownies. If I can't go for brownies, if there's none there, I'll go for crisps. Kettle crisps. Gorgeous. In terms of drink, it's either Coke, obviously Coke, or Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is always the one I always go to, without a doubt. I love Dr. Pepper, but if there's none there, then I'll go for Coke. I've actually got a bit of a complaint, is what to go towards Tesco's. So again, I've got a bit of a meal deal story, but not as dramatic. When I was at Tesco's one day about a few months ago, I think it might be the end of last year. We're in Tesco's, you know, me and my girlfriend a bit hungry, so I thought, you know, let's get a quick snack before we have tea later on. So we got a meal deal. I got a sandwich. I got like a baguette thing. They were actually quite nice. Bag of crisps, and then I go to the drink section. Every single drink was diet. Are you kidding me? Diet? No. Where's this full fat? I don't want diet rubbish. Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Diet Dr. Pepper. Are you taking the mick out of me? I was fuming. So I've got a water.
Oh, that's like rule 101 of you don't do that in meal deals. Oh,
Well, rule 102, don't have bloody diet popping the meal deals. I'm looking at you, Tesco. God.
Well, the thing is, at this, like now, I mean, of course, people do some kind of like diet. If, it doesn't have to be like weight loss or anything, some people just don't like it. And also, Coke is full of calories. Like,
oh, yeah.
It is ridiculously full of calories. But, what was I going to say there? Obviously over here, I think it's many countries as well, but in the UK you have sugar tax. So a Coke will always be about 11, 12, 13, however big it is. It's always about, 10, 11, 20, 30 pence more.
Yeah.
But in a meal deal, it doesn't matter. And again, that's why I was saying about the Red Bulls. Red Bulls are the most expensive drink out there because of the the sugar and the caffeine and also as well when I say Red Bull, I mean like the 355ml ones. Again, it's not massive, but is that right? 55? Like no, it's 475. Sorry, it's 475 mils. They're massive. They're about $2.50 to buy, and they're in the meal deals. But yeah, the full fat and diet are the same price. I just want to also add in there, Jordan, quickly. Greg's Northeast delicacy. It's not a meal deal per se because you only get really two things, but I just want to quickly throw that in there as an honourable mention because, guys, in my situation, or if you're a student, this is what you do, right? Listen, we're going to tag this as a student. Wait a few seconds, and you can tag this. Right, we're going to tag this right now. Listen up, students. This is what you do, right? Go into Greg's, and you get like a ham and cheese baguette. You go up to them and say, can I, put it in the oven, please? And then you also get a Coke. I mean, as I say, the Cokes are about 11 pence more, I think. But, at this stage, doesn't really mind. You get a Coke and you get a baguette. It's $3.20. It's $3.50 in London. It's like £3. It depends where you go, but it's like £3 to $3.50. $3.50 down in London for some reason. But if you're a student, you get a free student cheeseburger at McDonald's. You get a free student sausage roll or like a dessert, a sweet. So you can walk out of there in Newcastle. You can walk out of there with a ham and cheese baguette, toasted, a bottle of Coke or a bottle of Fanta or whatever, which is doesn't have any more money on top of it, and a donut or a muffin or like a dessert from them for £3. And I'm like, that is amazing. So, it's not a meal deal, but I'm just going to throw that in there.
An honourable mention for Greg's. Yes, love their sausage rolls, and of course a steak bake, gorgeous. Bloody gorgeous. Anyways, moving away from food, moving away from meal deals, because to be fair, I do fancy a meal deal after talking about that.
Oh, I'm hungry. I want a Greg's. It's a shame that they're not open, John.
I know. I want a Greg's too. Oh, what have you done, Meerkat? Look at what you've done. Anyways, coming back into the world of Formula 1 now, from Mr. Spino, nailed it, he says, which Grand Prix would you guys love to go to? Now, we've been fortunate enough to go to a number of Grand Prix. Lal's, of course, has been more Grand Prix than what I have, because Lal had a job involving going to races and stuff, that was incredible. I've only ever been to 2 locations of Grand Prix. I've been to the same place more than once. Of course, I've been to Silverstone, and I've been to Monza, Italy, of course, the Italian Grand Prix. Oh, incredible track.
Yeah.
So, I think, I've always said I want to go to the big 4, and 2 of them I've been to, which is Silverstone and Monza. The other 2 being Monaco and Belgium. People say Monaco is Italia's time and yeah, but it's Monaco. You've got to go there. I think if any F1 fan, you must try and go to Monaco just to say you've been to Monaco, do it properly, go there for the race for the full weekend, enjoy it, take it all in, and then go back. Monaco's up there definitely, along with Belgium. Those 2 are top of my list, without a doubt. In terms of other Grand Prix, I would love to go to Singapore, which again, Lal's already been to that one. Singapore, for me, I've always said Grand Prix outside of Europe, I think the Singapore Grand Prix would be one I would love to go to. It looks like beautiful scenery. Of course, it's at night. I think that'd be amazing to witness. I would like to go to Canada because it's a beautiful country. The track is amazing. The fans are really, really good. And I always have a good history with that track on the F1 games. I always do well at Canada. I don't know why. I just do. It doesn't matter what I do. I mean, if you follow my streams on F1 2010, you know, that I absolutely beast it sometimes till I smash it in the wall. Anyway, and yeah, so for me, I would say Belgium, without a doubt. Belgium and Monte Carlo, definitely. Singapore and Canada, I'm going to go with them 4 as like a top of my list, priority list. Definitely, can't think of anything else. I mean, it's like Germany and stuff like that. I mean, if Germany comes back on, Austria, France, yeah, you know, obviously, I mean, I would have said Malaysia if that was on the calendar still, but it's not, so I can't say Malaysia. So I'll go with them 4. For me, Belgium, Monte Carlo, Canada, and Singapore. Lyle, which Grand Prix would you like to go to that you haven't been to before?
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, Jordan, you know, I went to Spain and Monaco last year, but it's not the same. You know, it's only general admission. I want to go to grandstand kind of thing, and I did go to Singapore for me 21st, which was absolutely unreal. The races that I'd like to go to, I mean, Canada definitely. Canada's number 1 on my list, so that's my answer, Canada. It's an iconic track. Firstly, I mean, you think of all the locations, of course, you know, it's Australia, you know, go to Australia. Why do you want to go to Australia? You know, if you want to visit, I mean, that's, you know, it's a land down under, obviously people go on holiday there, you know, it's a great destination. So it's like, if you want to go to Australia, I tell you what, let's go to the Australian Grand Prix as well, make it a bit of a holiday. Again, when we went to Singapore, it wasn't just, I mean, it was the Grand Prix. It's a very small place, kind of like you want to go there for the Grand Prix, but it was also a great tourist place. Like, for example, the Monday, you know, after the race was over, we went touring around Singapore. We went to Sentosa Island, which is like one of their little islands where, I think, is it Universal Studios is there? Yes, it's the Universal Studios they have in Singapore, which was absolutely unreal. So you also go there, you know, to explore the country. So I agree with Jordan there. Canada, definitely. Firstly, you've got the track, great races, great attendance. I mean, like, FP2, for example, you don't get at FP2 practice, you don't get these numbers. And Canada, I remember, was one of the only races last year which had almost full grandstands in FP2 Friday afternoon, which is incredible. Yeah, definitely Canada. You know, great races last year, incredible. It's also the, you know, everything else around it. Of course, I've never been to Canada. Love to visit there. It does look like a great place as well. When the drivers also go there, you know, also America, also the US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, they always end up getting onto different things. So, for example, like, you know, Pierre Gasly goes to watch, you know, the Montreal Canadiens ice hockey team, or, you know, one of them goes to watch, like, you know, Toronto FC, Montreal FC. A few of them go down to America, they go to New York, they go to, you know, they always end up doing things like that. It's also like America as well. Like Daniel Ricciardo also, you know, he always ends up going to a cattle ranch. And Lewis Hamilton ends up going to a Dallas Cowboys game and things like that. So definitely Montreal, USA as well, Austin. It's not a race, I would say, it's not up there like Montreal. Montreal is, it's got the legacy, it's got the heritage, as well as the fun to, you know, it's also the, you know, the travel to go to Canada. The US has also just got the travel to America. I wouldn't say the track is, you know, like, what's the word, like, you know, as good as Canada. It's not, it hasn't got the legacy, but I'd still like to go there. It's America, it's massive, you know, they put on a big show. What do they say? Everything's bigger in Texas. Well, I think that's what the Grand Prix is. It's a big Grand Prix, it's elevated, and obviously I'd love to go to America, Texas, I'd go across to Dallas, of course, watch the NFL there. So, Canada, USA. In terms of the old tracks, Jordan, in Europe, I mean, Monza was absolutely incredible. Germany, Hockenheim, possibly, Austria. I would say out of all the European races, Austria would be like the one at the top of my list. The atmosphere there, not just for Max, but it seems to always be great. I mean, even the 2014 Austrian Grand Prix, you look at the stands, they were full, they were packed with Mercedes fans, and again, Red Bull fans, you know, being the Red Bull ring, fans of Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo and all that. So, in terms of Europe, Austria is next to my list. And then, I want to...
I've got a quick one as well that hasn't happened yet, but we know the atmosphere is going to be electric. Of course, the Dutch Grand Prix.
Oh, yes.
That is going to be incredible, atmosphere-wise.
Yeah, of course. Actually, yes. Jordan, I'm going to scrap Austria. I'm going to say Zandvoort.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be incredible. And also, that's a very close race to us as well.
It is, yeah.
So, yes, Zandvoort for Europe. And also, I'm going to say Suzuka as well. Again, you know, I'm saying this, again, Suzuka's got the legacy, the heritage, the great track, the amount of drama that went on there, especially through Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost days, you know, the 89 casino crash, and when the 91, I think it was, when they took each other out, but also just for Japan. It's an incredible Asian country. I would love to go there. Of course, they're not getting the Olympics as of yet, so that's a real shame. But the culture and the heritage of Japan, and also modern day Japan as well, I would love to visit there. So yes, I would love to go to those races. Canada, USA, Zandvoort and Suzuka. But the one at the top of my list, Jordan, for right now is Montreal, the Canadian Grand Prix, which of course, unfortunately, as I've just said at the start, has been postponed. So our third question comes in from William Corsus. Again, I feel like I've butchered that name. Not the name, but the pronunciation of it. But, you know, you got rid out anyways. So, he says, what is your least favourite year for F1 cars in terms of aerodynamic designs before 2010? Now, he's asked that because he knows that we're going to say 2012, doesn't he, Jordan? You know, 2012 or 2014 actually, because again, I've just thought that, you know, you had the step nose in 2012, which is ugly, but you got used to them. Like Red Bull's, you know, Red Bull did a good job. I think it was Caterham who looked horrible, but then 2014, you know, the Hoover nose from Ferrari and the fork from Haas or Lotus even. So, least favourite, I'm going to kick it off and say probably the one that I didn't like the most would be 2009. Mainly the Red Bull that I'm thinking of, but maybe some of the cars that, I just remember that Red Bull looking so ugly. It had like the stripes going down and then like the nose kind of funneled in. It didn't look nice. I didn't really like it. Also, no, this is after 2010, isn't it? I was going to say the McLaren 2012, after Spain, that was the only one out of that year that it made me feel sick because it kind of went down and then back up again. I was like, just keep the Australian design when it went down. It looked really good. Yeah, that's the only really one I can think of. Again, the Ferrari 2007, the Kimi Raikkonen winning one, had too many kind of like things sticking out of it. Like just make a compact Formula 1 car. Again, John, you're not going to really like this, of course. Great car, but again, the 2008 McLaren, it had too many things sticking out of it. I remember, didn't it have like a bit of a kind of a fork at the front? Yeah. It just looked... but I don't know if it's like a full year, but teams always make something random and things that we don't like. But the one I'm going to say, the one that I'm thinking of right now is 2009 Red Bull. Also, I mean, it was a good car, of course. You know, first win for Red Bull first win for Red Bull and for Mark Webber in that year. But I just remember that didn't look like a very nice car. I didn't really hit the right notes kind of thing. Remember, there wasn't the 2006 Renault, that wasn't very nice as well, but I'm going to say the Red Bull and also the 2007 Ferrari and the 2008 McLaren, just with all the bits hanging off it, like, get rid of them bits, man. Just go back to, you know, one car, like a unibody chassis kind of thing. I don't think they had it back in those days. Also, as well, just quick shout out to when we said the liveries. I know we didn't say worst, but the Ferrari, the barcode. Ugh. Like, what are you trying to scan, man? You're not a meal deal getting scanned.
Oh, no, don't
get rid of the barcode. Anyway, Jordan, least favourite car for aerodynamics before
2010. Oh, again, I don't know because I mean, like, yeah, the cars from like 06, 07, 08, they had like lots of aero parts on them. Of course, to clean them down for 09, which I think, to be fair, the cars in 08 look a lot racy. They look racy. Then when they changed to 09, there was a bit... I mean, some cars got it spot on. For example, the Brawn looked really nice. Then, of course, I think it was the Renault, when they had the ING livery and the white, the orange, and it was a bit weird. Like, that kind of look of car looked a bit, I don't know. But, of course, it improved in 2010, which I think those cars looked quite decent, if I'm totally honest. I don't know. Even like the start of the 2000s, I thought the cars looked a bit basic and there's nothing really going on with them, but they were quite quick and, of course, but again, I wasn't from that era. If I had to choose a year, I'll have to go way back to the 70s, when these cars had these like massive like things behind them. What do you call it? Like the big airboxes.
The exhaust.
No. It was like, it wasn't the exhaust. It was the airbox coming up. I was like massive. And I mean, to be fair, we had some really, really wacky designs in the 60s and 70s. And I mean, to be fair, that is going way back. But I mean, to be fair, the 90s cars look very nice. They're very iconic. 80s. I mean, the 80s. I mean, to be fair, some of them were a bit like. I was watching a video the other week of like designs that didn't fend well, and I think one of them was like a box, like a. I think they described it as like a bath, like sitting in a bath and driving an F1 car, and it looked like quite chunky, and Yeah, there were some really weird designs in the 80s, but 70s, I never liked them big airboxes at the back. And
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, some of them are iconic and stuff, but like, yeah, like what the hell was going on there? So I think 70s and 80s were like a bit bizarre when it came to designs, and then of course we got like the odd one or two. For example, 2014. I mean, I know we can't say 2014, but 2014 was just what the hell's going on? Like all the noses were just horrible.
Not every car though. I mean, the Mercedes, they didn't.
Oh no, the Mercedes was
Red
still
Bull didn't
that was nice, yeah.
Yeah, but then someone like Ferrari had to do something manky. And also, just quickly, Jordan, I want to add one thing: the 2016 cars. I don't know why, and obviously that was the last year of kind of like the like more propped up, slimmer, bigger kind of cars. But I didn't really like them, like Red Bulls, for example. Yes, Red Bull, it was a good car, and it looked very similar to, of course, what it is now, just stretched out, but I didn't really like that. And the Mercedes, not a big fan. Ferrari, adding white in. I mean, Jordan, I like the 2017 Ferrari, but like red and white does not mix. Red and black, yes, but red and white, no. And that isn't a dig at
No,
I do like how that, even though I do like how the
I'll tell you what, actually, controversial opinion here, Lyle. I preferred the red and white to the red and black.
See, it just didn't. It was mainly the overalls that got me, but it. Yeah.
On the 2017 car, I thought the 2018 car didn't. I don't know. The 2018 Ferrari didn't look that good with the little bits of white, but 2017 was perfection.
2017 with the shark fin that had little Italian stripes on there for that.
Ferrari nailed it that year.
Halo as well. Oh, it was amazing. But anyways, yes.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
mine 2009 or 7 and all that.
Yeah, amazing. So next one comes in from Lotus Raptors. Now he says, well, he starts by saying, "Is Paul Ricard better than Suzuka?" Again, a big question. That's a Joti question. Of course, we had that podcast. A certain YouTuber said this so-called statement. Again, it's a title. Go and watch it, and if you don't know who it is, then go and check it out, and see who said that. But yeah, obviously it's a bit of a joke. But of course, it says but seriously, on a more serious note, his real question is: which F1 track would you drop from the 2020 calendar, and which one would you bring back? You can only pick one of each, so choose carefully. For me, it's a no-brainer. Drop France, bring back Malaysia.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. You know why. I've said why Malaysia's a good track before. France, I know I've only had 2 Grand Prix there, but come on, it's a test track. It's just, my eyes hurt whenever I watch it. All the rubbish colours on the side. And what the hell's going on? Just clean it up a bit, people. It's thin, it's boring, don't like it. Atmosphere a bit black. Well, I think, to be fair, atmosphere is quite good, but I don't like it. Malaysia, I mean, brilliant track. The rain, the sudden change of weather. We've had some really classical races there. That location was, of course, the last time a race was cancelled during the Grand Prix, and half points were awarded back in 2009. Kimi Räikkönen ate an ice cream. Ah ha ha ha! Very funny. Get over it. But yeah, I love that track. I love Malaysia. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who would want that. Malaysia, brilliant Grand Prix. France didn't like it. Probably won't like it. So yeah, that's mine. Get rid of France. Bring back Malaysia. Lyle, what's yours?
Well, firstly, I was going to agree. I mean, I agree with you there, Malaysia, Sepang. I knew you were going to say that. I didn't know you were going to say Paul Ricard doesn't really work in with the first question. Firstly, I do think Suzuka's better. Secondly, I know what track I'm going to bring back, which is the Indian Grand Prix in Delhi.
Right.
I loved that circuit. Longest straight. It was incredible, of course. Red Bull, Sebastian Vettel dominated that circuit, the only winner. I thought it was good, and I'll tell you why quickly. Because Rubens Barrichello designed the track, not just on his own, obviously, but like he was a Formula 1 driver who had the input on the track, and there was bits taken from every single track in the calendar to add into the circuit. It was lovely. It was nice. Good fans, good racing. So I'm going to say that. The race I'm going to get rid of. I like Paul Ricard as a circuit, but Jordan's right. It isn't very entertaining. Race to get rid of. And again, I would have possibly said Azerbaijan at the early stages, like 20 after the 2016 European Grand Prix, as it was called, then I would have said yes, get rid of Azerbaijan, but now I wouldn't. It's actually one of my favourite circuits now. So I'm going to say, it's That is so hard. Possibly Bahrain. But I'm going to say the race we should get rid of is... Oh, nah, Jordan, you've sold us Paul Ricard. I'm sorry. Au revoir, Paul Ricard. Get out. I don't know what get out is for French, but au revoir, you know.
Get out.
Merci. I don't want to say merci. You know, they haven't really given us anything good. We haven't had a great race at Paul Ricard in a very long time. Mexico as well. I could have possibly said Mexico, but again, after we've had a few good races there, especially the championship years.
I like
Bottas
that.
crashing out this year as well. Max obviously not getting on pole position. I would have possibly said that after 2016, but I'm not going to, and I'm going to agree with you, John. For the first time ever,
we agree. Amazing.
Paul Ricard. And Jordan, agreement. It actually leads on to the next question we have from Kids Love F1. We agreed on that one, but he says, "Have we ever not?" He says, "What's our biggest disagreement that we've had about the channel?" Now that's the one. I mean, of course, you know, me and Jordan have been friends for about a decade now. You know, if there's anything I don't like, I'll say it. But really, I don't think we ever have, Jordan. I mean, firstly, of course, you know, this channel was created. It was Jordan's idea. We both were on YouTube before that. It was Jordan's idea, but it's our channel. You know, it's not mine. It's not Jordan's. If he wants to make a video, you know, he can do it, and vice versa. Yeah. We're very open with each other, you know, about what we want and stuff. And Jordan, I'm not just saying this for the camera, but like I would say that, you know, when we have ideas, we get there eventually, don't we? Like, you'll tell me something, and I'll be like, I don't understand it at first, maybe, but then I'll be like, oh, okay, let's ride with it, and then eventually I'll start loving it. For example, I'll hold my hand up and say, for example, with F1 online decoder, F1 YouTube's decoder, he told us that last year. It was actually a kind of it was an evolution of different things. We did one called Driver's Decoder, which wasn't very successful. And I was like, I don't think that'll work. We're not at the stage to interview people. But then, of course, we started doing a few, and I loved it. And then this year's kicked off massively successful. Well, we think. We hope. Yeah, we hope. So, yeah, Jordan, I can't really think of anything. I mean, of course, you know, let us have it if you think anything. But, yeah, I can't really think of anything, Jordan. I mean, what do you think we've ever disagreed about anything? I mean, like, we've had talks, but I wouldn't say we've ever disagreed about something. We've never, like, you've never pitched me something and I've said no, let's get rid of it, and vice versa and stuff. So we've always got there mutually. So I mean, can you think?
Like, we've always kind of agreed on like a video, or I mean, because we love making YouTube videos, we love talking about Formula One, and we normally kind of discuss what we're going to be talking about in a debate show or a random type of video. 99% of the time we always like agree, but sometimes not. Like, we'll say, okay, we'll do this video, but why don't we do this instead of this? Or talk about this instead of that? And it's like Lyle said, we get there eventually. So, like, we agree to make a video, but then we kind of add our own ideas in. I think there has been a couple of times where we've maybe disagreed on a debate show about a certain opinion, but normally we kind of agree with most things. I'm trying to think, is there anything that we've really disagreed about? I would have thought so in the early years, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Like, yeah, we kind of just think of something and we just say. I think recently we had a bit of a, I think it was a Haas video. I think we kind of had a real disagreement on there where we were, I think, what was it? I think I said they should get rid of Grosjean and you said they should keep Grosjean, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, in terms of like, yeah,
I think we've disagreed in that sense,
not in a malicious way or anything. Yeah,
but I mean, you know, sometimes we'll go, yeah, okay, it makes sense, but of course, all right, we move on and in that. But in terms of the channel, I think there's been some designs for logos and stuff like I've tried to do to like commemorate a special occasion like Christmas or Halloween, or do a certain thumbnail a bit differently, and we've been like, why have you done that? Get rid of that. No. Yeah. But you know, there's been some things like that. But 99% of the time, me and Lal agree, which is probably the boring answer, because you were probably expecting something like, oh, well, there was a time that I had this idea and Lal punched me in the face, and I punched him back, and we ended up fighting for like 10 minutes, and then we kind of just kissed and made up and did a video. But no, I think we literally agree. We enjoy making YouTube videos. We enjoy talking about Formula One. We do have the odd disagreement, but normally like I said, we're just two lads who like watching cars go around in circles, talk about it with you guys on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, you guys normally you're the guys who normally don't agree with us. Anyways, so my final question we'll be asking in this Q&A is from Shadowmaker, or Jack Chambers, as I know him as, Jack Chambers. Thanks for sending your question in, Jack. Lovely, lovely lad. Now, this is a question that's going to get us thinking, Lyle. So, Lyle, get your thinking cap on now, mate. Get it on. Okay. Get your thinking cap on quickly. There we go. It's on, people. Oh, God, how dusty is that?
I've actually got my helmet here. Do you want us to put my helmet on for the first time? I haven't like raced in ages, but I'm going to finally put my helmet on for like, I haven't worn this in a long time.
Go on then. Do it for the camera. Oh my God.
Can I put it around? Right, there we go. Okay.
It's on.
That is tight. I must have a big head because I've never worn this in a long time.
Oh my God, jeez, that's ready to just explode.
It's magnetic as well. This is a good helmet. S-Works.
Shout out to S-Works.
It's good.
Other bike helmets are available. And he says, right, are you ready? Your F1 Mount Rushmore. 4 heads forever immortalised in stone. Now, thinking about this, I thought, we've had this before. And then I thought, wait there. We haven't. I've heard it on a couple of other podcasts I've listened to. And we've never had this question, Lyle. So, 4 people, or just be drivers, it can be anyone in Formula 1, I suppose. F1, Mount Rushmore, 4 people. Right. For me, first up there would be Jim Clark, without a shadow of a doubt. Jim Clark is the first guy there, for me. No problem. First one. Second one... Second one would be Schumacher. Obviously, the legacy that he's got in Formula 1. The records he's broke. Legend. So I'll probably say Clark, Schumacher. Oh God, there's so many to choose from. I'm stuck between...
Don't go like normal. Say, something out of the box.
Grosjean.
That's it.
Roman Grosjean and Maldonado next to him. Yes, boy, that's my Mount Rushmore. Nah. I would say Clark, Schumacher, Fangio, because he's the grandfather of Formula 1. He was the first real great of Formula 1. And my fourth one, I'm not going to pick a driver. I want to pick somebody who had a big legacy in Formula 1 in terms of safety. Professor Sid Watkins.
Oh, yeah.
A guy who saved a lot of lives, improved a lot of safety measures, of course, with the help of Jackie Stewart. He'll be a close contention. But Sid Watkins is a well-known figure in Formula 1. He was the medical guy for many, many years. Seen loads of drivers sadly get killed. He was there when Senna died, unfortunately. And of course, he did tell some amazing stories about drivers and stuff. So yeah, for me, I would say that's a good one for me. Jim Clark, because he's a legend, an absolute best driver for me of all time. Schumacher for what he did in Formula 1 in the kind of the modern day era. Fangio, the first legend of Formula 1, and Professor Sid Watkins for the impact he had on safety in Formula 1. That is my Mount Rushmore. Lyle, what's yours?
So mine, after all the wisdom I got from me cap of thinking.
The cap of thinking.
My Mount Rushmore will be... Now, I don't really want to go common, but of course, we all know the greats. I'm going to kick it off with Ayrton Senna. Mm-hmm. Because, it's just Ayrton. Somebody who there's a lot of debate around him. For example, is he would he be as well known in the non-Formula 1 community if the documentary wasn't made? But as Formula 1 fans, we know how much of an impact he had, even with or without that documentary. It just, of course, helped. And we did realise how much impact he had. I was thinking about putting Alain Prost there as well for their rivalry, but also just because Alain, changed so much. I'm not going to put him there. Of course, I'm going to put Michael Schumacher. Fangio, he is a great Formula 1, of course, and he is the pioneer. I guess that's the point of Mount Rushmore, isn't it? Because it's got like Abe Lincoln on that, Theodore Roosevelt. They're not the best presidents. For example, Abe Lincoln, of course, was. But it's the fact of their legacy. But I'm not going to put Fangio just because I'm going to change. That's probably like my one change that I'm not going to put there. So Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton, and I know that's going to cause a lot of stir, and Max Verstappen. No.
Oh.
I don't know who would be more mad about that. The people who don't want Max there, or the people that do want Max there. But I'm not going to put Max there. So sorry, Max fans. So Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, and see again. I'm thinking like Jordan. I'm thinking, do I want to put someone there who isn't really related to Formula One? But I'm going to put. Again, I'm going to put someone that's involved with safety like Jordan, but not someone like that who also drove in Formula 1, which is Sir Jackie Stewart. I think, honestly, I've been looking at Sir Jackie, the impact he had on safety, and not just him as driving, but also the impact he had after Formula 1. Actually, no. I'm going to stop right there because I've thought of someone even better.
Ooh.
Niki Lauda.
Ah, good one.
So I'm going to lock that in now. That is my 4, Jordan. In this order... Ayrton Senna from the front. Ayrton Senna leading the pack, of course. Michael Schumacher, following in the footsteps of greatness. Lewis Hamilton in the middle. He lived up to Schumacher.
Yeah.
And then Niki Lauda, also resemblance to all of those drivers, raced against Ayrton Senna. He worked. I think didn't he work with Ferrari when Michael was there? And then, of course, the massive one, which is worked with Lewis Hamilton to get Lewis into the team for the 2013 season. So that is my Mount Rushmore, Jordan. But yeah, amazing, choice from you as well. So Sid Watkins, great guy.
Yeah.
And obviously, guys, leave your Mount Rushmores in the comment section below. So our final question comes in from F1 Fanatics. Mike from F1 Fanatics.
I've seen this one.
And right, we aren't our friends anymore. I'm sorry, Mike, but we aren't our friends anymore. What are you doing? What have you just done?
What has he done?
What have you just done? You've single-handedly just broken our cycle.
You are no longer allowed on our channel anymore.
But it is good to think about, though. It is good to think about, and of course we have over a decade of stories about this guy. So he says now. It's, the original question he writes is on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you like Mike Ashley? But then he's also drove the knife even further in by saying, with 10 out of 10 being the only option. So, Mike, do you know what? I'm going to be nice to you and I'm going to take out the 10 out of 10 bit and answer your original question. I'm going to say on the scale of 1 out of 10, how much do I like Mike Ashley? I'm like him better than I do Arsenal FC. And that is a given. What are Arsenal doing right now, Jordan? Do you like Arsenal?
Arsenal?
What the worst team in London. The worst team in London. You've got West Ham, Chelsea, Spurs are. I do. Let's talk about how amazing Spurs are right now. Spurs are the best. Amazing.
Oh
stadium,
my God, Spurs are just incredible.
Manager, amazing players. Absolutely love all of them. What are Arsenal? And North London is the I want to say
North London.
Is
whatever, white.
Whatever Spurs
North London
fans
is
say,
white. It'll forever be white.
North London is Tottenham Hotspur fever right now. Anyways, so going back to that, 1 out of 10. Obviously, it's not going to be anything else. Mike Ashley, of course, is the owner of Newcastle United, me and Jordan's team. Don't like him at all. As a person, he's a businessman.
Yeah, he's a businessman.
We know that. We know that he's a businessman. He runs things as a business, but of course, he has neglected the club in a long way. As a fan, I don't hold on to the 100% knowledge that if Mike Ashley sold the club, we would have loads of money and immediately, win leagues and stuff. That is not the case. If Mike Ashley sold the club tomorrow, we would probably have the same amount of money, the same players, the same, going forwards, and we would end up in the same, mid-table in the Premier League if the Premier League was going on right now. But, of course, it's just a better owner, and Steve Bruce will get a lot more money. But Jordan, I'm going to keep it nice, short and simple. 1 out of 10. We don't like Mike anymore, and North London is Tottenham Hotspur territory. Anyways, yep. So what do you think about that god-awful last question?
Well, Mike, you can get your question, scribble it in a ball, and shoved up your jacksie. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. 0 out of 10.
Watching Arsenal get beat by Tottenham.
0 out of 10. Tottenham are the best team in the world. Well, second best team in the world behind Newcastle. Arsenal can just... What even is Arsenal? What even is Arsenal? Get out of town.
It's
and yeah.
Arsene Wenger. Who's that?
Who? What? I've never... Arsenal. The Emirates Stadium. Decent football. You have my life. Yeah, so
would you go as far to say that Sunderland are better than Arsenal, Jordan?
Oh, hey, whoa. No, I wouldn't stoop that low. You've got Sunderland, then you've got Arsenal. All right, yeah. I'm not going that low. Oh, no. Sunderland are always bottom. Yeah, but 0 out of 10. Mike, do 1. Nah, I like you really, mate. Thanks for your question, of course.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And thank you everyone else who sent their questions in. Of course, we had a few more which didn't make the cut, but thank you for everyone that's interacted with us. We really enjoyed doing this Q&A. Of course, guys, leave everything what we said in this, all the questions for you as well. What do you think? Apart from the last one, don't give them the time of day. What's your meal deal? And what's your favourite car? What's your favourite livery? What else have we asked?
Mount Rushmore.
What's your Mount Rushmore? What's your Mount Rushmore? Very important question, Of course. We love reading them. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Of course, in this situation of no Formula 1, guys, we try and make the best videos we can. Try and make them a bit of a laugh. We have F1 24/7 news. We cover, of course, the news, breaking news, which is everything's coronavirus at this point. So we talk about them. But in the debate shows, we try and stay as far away from that as we can. Try and give you guys and us as well, of course, a bit more, just a bit of excitement and joy and anticipation. We do hope Formula 1 can get back. Paul Ricard, the opening round, fair enough, it's a bad circuit, but let's have Formula 1 back. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I really have appreciated you watching us today. Make sure to stay tuned for all of our content. F1 and no F1, we still are going to be all guns blazing with the F1 debate show, and of course our big series at the moment, F1 Online Decoded. So thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Keep on track with us throughout 2020. And until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.